Alright, hey everybody, what's going on? It's your boy Reality Rust here, coming back to you guys with another Rust video. Lately I've been uploading stream highlights, and I've been getting a lot of comments asking what my settings are. You guys have really seemed to want this type of video, so I'm gonna give it to you guys. Alright, so as you can see here, I have a Intel Core i5-4460, and my GPU is NVIDIA GeForce GTX 750Ti. So yeah, that's what we're running on this bad boy. And a lot of you guys say in my streams, you're running like the game amazingly for the type of graphics card that you have. So I'm going to show you guys what settings I have. If you have a 750 Ti, hopefully this will help you out a little bit because you're not getting as good of frames. And I'm going to warn you now, your game's not going to look beautiful, but it's gonna run great. And as you can see, I'll show you guys some gameplay after I show you my settings, but I can run the game in about 100 FPS on wipe day. So yeah, here we go. Let's get into the video. So on my graphics tab, you can see here I have depth of field turned off. That's just personal preference. That's not gonna really affect whether or not you have better frames or not. That's just really, I hate the look of depth of field. It makes stuff just look blurry and nasty, and it really doesn't help me out at all. So of course I'm gonna have that turned off if I'm looking for better gameplay. Ambient occlusion, I have this turned on just because I like the way the game looks and it doesn't really affect my gameplay too much. Anti-Aliasing, this one I have running on FXAA. You can do, I would recommend FXAA. It's just my personal preference. I'm not sure if there's too big of a difference between SMA and TSSAA. You can try them out, see which one gives you the best frames, and see which one you like more. High quality bloom. Now this one's really, once again, personal preference. For me, I have it turned off because you can't read name tags very well. The lights on the name tags are a little screwed up. But basically what it does, if you look at the sun or look at any sort of lighting, it gives it kind of a blur. And kind of a glow to it so that it looks kind of more realistic. I'm not sure if this really affects your frame rate too much. You can try turning it on and off, see how much of a difference it really makes with your frame rate. But if I were you, I'd just turn it off. Lens dirt. This, I'm not exactly sure what it does, but why not have it on if it doesn't affect my frame rate? So I've turned it on and off over and over and over again, and have never really noticed a difference. So I just keep it on because why have it off if it's not really changing anything. Motion blur. First things first, I'd never recommend motion blur if you're trying to get good at a game. It just really screws you up and it can disorient you. But I don't really think this one affects frame rate. But if you want to have it on, feel free. But basically what it does when you're scrolling or looking around, it makes it so that I guess it's a little more smooth when you're looking around, and it blurs it a little bit. So like in real life, if you look around really fast, you know, you're not gonna be able to tell exactly. It's gonna be really blurry. I don't know. Just turn it on, turn it off, see if it affects your frame rate. I don't think it will, but just see which one's your main preference and go with that. Sun shafts. I think this makes my game look a lot better, and it doesn't really kill my performance too much, so I like to keep that on. Same with sharpen and vignette. Now going down to the graphics quality, when I'm live streaming, I run the game on fastest when I launch, so it automatically sets my graphics quality to 0. That would be my personal recommendation for the 750 Ti. If you're gonna buy a 750 Ti, you're not gonna be able to run the game, at least Rust, in the best settings possible. You're probably gonna have to run it in the fastest, but the good news about that is you're gonna get about 100 frames, hopefully. I do have the For the Win edition of the 750 Ti, which I think that adds one more fan. I don't know. It was like a 20 or 30 bucks difference, so I just went all out and just bought the For the Win edition. I don't think that really changes too much. I think it's just the cooling. But yeah, once again, I have graphics quality on 0, and that's what I would recommend for the 750 Ti. Large scale occlusion, I have this turned off because this does take a hit off of my frame rate. So I have it turned to off. Same with grass displacement. It doesn't really like make that big of a difference. I just hate the look of grass displacement. Shadow cascades. Make sure you have cascades turned completely off, unless you know you're willing to lose probably a good 10 frames over this. It's really not worth it. It's not like you ever just sit there and stare at the mountains off in the distance, unless you're a role player, but hopefully you're not. But yeah, I just turned cascades all the way off. Water quality, I like to run that on 1. That gives me about 100 frames. You could turn it up a little bit, but you might drop, I don't know, 5 frames. Same with water reflections. Max shadow lights. My PC can run that on 2, but if you can't, then I'd drop it down to 1. The shader level, I can stand, so I'll get a big frame hit if I go all the way up to 600. So I like to chill at about the 300 range, because that gives me the look that I want, and it really drops it. It gives me frames. It's really a good thing. Draw distance. I 100%, this is going to take a hit on your frames, right? But it's worth losing these frames. You want your draw distance all the way up. In most games, you want your draw distance pretty much turned all the way up. This is because you're going to be able to see things that if you had the draw distance all the way down, you wouldn't be able to see. You always want to have draw distance up, even though that's going to, if I were to play at 500, I'd probably gain a good 30 frames. But I like to play on 2500, the max, because I'd like to be able to see if someone's coming at me from a distance, you know what I mean? Shadow distance, I have this turned all the way down. This generally helps my frame rate, and I would not recommend turning it up. Anisotropic filtering, it makes textures viewed at an angle sharper. I have this turned down because this does affect your frame rate quite a bit, and I might even turn it down just a little bit more if I have to. Parallax mapping, this also has a pretty big hit on your frame rate. It gives, like, I don't know how to, it just doesn't, it makes the game look a little bit better. I would turn that down to 1 or 0. So somewhere around the 1-0 range. Definitely not 2 though. All right, so now that we're done with graphics quality, once again, if you need to look over, just go back, rewind the video. Now we're gonna go to performance. So on performance, I have my max Gibbs turned all the way down. Never want your max Gibbs turned up unless you have a beefy PC, because anytime that someone destroys a foundation, anything like that, you're gonna get a big hit on your frame rate. That's just because what max Gibbs is, it's the amount of different particles that can be in your screen at one time. So for instance, when you have your max Gibbs all the way turned up, if you have a hammer in your hand and you destroy a foundation, wood is going to go flying everywhere. There's going to be so many different pieces of logs flying in the air. Whereas if you have your max Gibbs turned all the way down, it's just going to kind of break, and there's not going to be, you know, giant logs flying everywhere. And it really helps with your performance. If you need the exact definition that Rust gives you, it's the maximum amount of Gibbs, aka broken objects, that can exist at one time. Particle quality. If you are getting a hit on frames, I'd recommend turning this down. But for me, my processor and graphics card mix, I can run it at about 50. Sometimes I'll drop it down a little bit if I need to gain some frames. Same with object quality, I can run that at about 100, and that's just the way my PC works. Once again, if you're getting frames, if you're losing frames, I would definitely recommend turning that down a little bit. Your game's gonna not look as good as, you know, mine will, but it's worth it in the end. Tree quality, there's no point in having your tree quality all the way up unless you want the game to be extremely beautiful, which is going to hit your frames a little bit. I'd turn it all the way down. Plus, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to see people, you don't want freaking leaves everywhere, right? You want to be able to see through the tree line, see who you're looking at. So I would definitely turn my tree quality all the way down. Same with terrain quality. That's going to have a little bit of a hit on your frames, so I've turned that all the way down, and that's fine with me because when I'm looking for P2s on the floor, I don't need the quality, you know, to be super nice. I need to be able to get a distinct look at the P2 or whatever, and plus that helps my frame rate. Grass quality, I might even end up turning this down if I lose frames, but grass quality, once again, not that big of a thing because you don't need the grass to look perfect, you know what I mean? If you're trying to get performance over quality, you're definitely going to want to turn your grass quality all the way down. But I can chill at 50 and still get, you know, 60, 70 frames. Decor quality, I'm going to drop that all the way to 0 too. If you have like over 100 frames, it probably wouldn't hurt you to move it a little bit up if you want the game to look nice. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Some bonus stuff if you want to see my input stuff. I'm just going to slowly scroll down for you guys to see any sort of bindings that I have. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as usual. Make sure to go to the little bell next to the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you get notified every single time I turn on the live stream, so you can hop in, interact with me, get to know me. I'm only at 25 subscribers, you guys, but I would love to get to know all 25 of you guys and really get to work on this YouTube channel because I want to get some good Rust content uploaded for you guys. So yeah, it's been your boy, Half Reality Rust. Make sure to hit that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe. And much love. Peace out, you guys.